This video is for educational and documentary purposes only. What you're about to hear is a real case. Viewer discretion is advised. You're watching True Crimes AI. In September of 1982, a quiet morning in suburban Chicago turned into a national nightmare. It started with a 12-year-old girl who took medicine for a simple cold and never woke up. Within hours, more people across the area would suddenly collapse. No warning, no connection, no obvious cause. What investigators would uncover would shock the entire country and permanently change how products are sold forever. This is the story of the Chicago Tylenol murders. It all started on the morning of September 29, 1982, in the small town of Elk Grove Village, Illinois. 12-year-old Mary Kellerman stayed home from school with a sore throat and a runny nose. Her parents did what any parent would do. They gave her an extra-strength Tylenol. Just moments after taking the capsule, she suddenly collapsed on the bathroom floor. She was rushed to the hospital, but doctors couldn't save her. At first, no one suspected anything unusual. It seemed like a tragic but isolated medical emergency, but within hours, that assumption would be shattered. Later that same day, in the nearby town of Arlington Heights, 27-year-old postal worker Adam Janus suddenly died after taking Tylenol for a headache. His family was completely blindsided, gathering at his home to mourn their shocking loss. As they tried to comfort each other, something even more disturbing happened. Adam's younger brother Stanley and his sister-in-law Teresa, both distraught and suffering from grief-induced headaches, took Tylenol from the very same bottle soon after. They also collapsed. Stanley died that day, and Teresa passed away 2 days later. Now, investigators knew this was not a coincidence. Something was terribly wrong. As the day continued, more reports came flooding in. A 31-year-old woman in Winfield, a 27-year-old flight attendant in Chicago, all had one thing in common: they had taken Tylenol shortly before becoming unresponsive. By the end of the day, 7 people were dead. They were from different locations, different walks of life, with no apparent connection to each other, except for one deadly link. Authorities immediately began testing the Tylenol capsules from the victims' homes. What they found was chilling. The capsules had been expertly tampered with. Someone had carefully pulled them apart, replaced some of the acetaminophen powder with potassium cyanide, a fast-acting and lethal poison, and then meticulously pushed the capsules back together. The victims hadn't been targeted personally. They were random people who had unknowingly purchased poisoned products right off of store shelves. This meant one terrifying thing: someone had gone to multiple stores, taken bottles of Tylenol, opened them, contaminated the capsules, and then secretly placed them back on the shelves, waiting for innocent customers to buy them. The public reaction was immediate and widespread. Officials issued emergency warnings through every available channel: television, radio, and even police cars driving through neighborhoods with loudspeakers. The message was clear and urgent: do not take Tylenol. Throw it away. Stores across the country pulled every single Tylenol product from their shelves. Hospitals prepared for a potential wave of new poisoning cases. Johnson & Johnson, the manufacturer of Tylenol, initiated a massive recall of over 31 million bottles, a decision that cost the company more than $100 million. But the financial cost was nothing compared to the psychological impact. For the first time, Americans were forced to confront a terrifying new reality. Even everyday products, things they trusted completely, could be turned into weapons. The investigation quickly became one of the largest and most complex in United States history. The FBI, local police departments, and federal agencies all joined forces, launching a massive manhunt. Investigators painstakingly tracked the lot numbers on the contaminated bottles, tracing them back to multiple stores across the Chicago area. But there was no clear pattern. The poisonings were scattered, with no single location or suspect linking them all together. The person responsible had moved quickly, covered their tracks, and left almost no physical evidence behind. Then a strange lead emerged. A man named James William Lewis sent a letter to Johnson & Johnson. In it, he demanded $1 million to stop the cyanide poisonings. Authorities took the extortion threat seriously and launched a nationwide search for him. Lewis was eventually arrested in New York City and later convicted of extortion. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. But there was a major problem. While he tried to profit from the tragedy, there was no direct evidence tying him to the actual poisonings. He denied committing the murders, and to this day, it has never been proven that he was the killer. Investigators believe the tampering happened at the retail level after the products had already been shipped to stores. The killer's method was likely as simple as it was evil. They would enter a store, buy a bottle of Tylenol, take it somewhere to alter the capsules, and then return to the same or a different store to place the poisoned bottle back on the shelf. This required careful planning, a steady hand, and a horrifying willingness to harm complete strangers. What made the case so unsettling was the total lack of motive. There was no personal connection to any of the victims, no grudge against the company that was made public. It was just random, senseless violence inflicted upon ordinary people. The Tylenol murders changed everything. Before 1982, most consumer products had little to no protection against tampering. A simple cardboard box and a cotton ball were often all that stood between you and the product inside. After this case, that all changed. Tamper-evident seals like foil seals over the mouth of a bottle and plastic shrink wrap around the cap became the industry standard. Product packaging was completely redesigned, and new federal laws were passed making product tampering a serious crime. The case fundamentally reshaped the entire retail industry and changed how we all think about everyday safety. More than 40 years later, the Chicago Tylenol murders remain officially unsolved. No one has ever been charged with the 7 deaths. The identity of the person responsible is still a mystery. Most investigators believe the killer likely acted alone and may have simply stopped after the initial wave of terror, disappearing back into society without ever being identified. 7 lives were lost, not because they were targeted, but because they were ordinary people living ordinary days. A child homesick from school, a young family grieving a sudden loss, individuals who simply reached for a trusted remedy, and somewhere out there, the person responsible vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of fear and a case that continues to haunt investigators to this day. If you appreciate deep dives into true crime cases like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every case deserves to be remembered. And every victim deserves to have their story told. You've been watching True Crimes AI. Thanks for watching.